ready. Hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you all lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want go!
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week! Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. Hello from the other side edition. This weekend, we welcome Hull City to town, and with us tonight from Holland back, we've got Cristian. He's joined us this evening in... Yes, Cristian, you're all right, pal. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all right, Dan. Thanks for having me here, mate. How are you? How's things?
I am rotting right now. I had a heavy weekend at Cardiff last weekend, and
Right.
and it's going to sound like I spent like doing some Class A's, but like you get like a runny nose. You get to a certain age, and after you've had a few beers, 2 days later you get the runny nose. This has turned into a full scale, absolute mega cold, and I've had to call in sick today.
Man flu, mate. It's man flu. That's the way it's going to go down. Exactly. I understand the situation after that one,
and it's the weather's been nice as well, and being in hot weather and all. I can't even sit in the garden. Everything just annoys me. I smell like strepsils and snot rags. You know what I mean? So if I sound a bit chesty, boys and girls, it's 'cause Cardiff away. That's essentially what's happened. Cristian, let's get into it, mate. Bit of a terms of form. Last 6 games, not the worst. Managed to get yourself out of it. We didn't do you a favour last week, which I assume you were hoping for.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a bit of fight going on there.
Yeah, there's a definite fight. It's one of those where the bottom of the table it's not working out too kindly for ourselves, and we're not helping ourselves in any way, shape, or form with respect to that as well, especially after playing Luton the other day.
Yeah.
It wasn't a pretty thing, and especially with like you say, everyone around us is kind of picking up points here and there. So it's getting to that kind of nervy end for ourselves, and especially for the type of, I don't want to say we're a big club or anything along those lines, but kind of the facilities and the way we're structured, we would have expected to be obviously doing a lot better this season. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people kind of pegged us for doing a lot better this season. But then there's a lot of factors to kind of look at as well from the beginning of the season, even from the end of last season to where we're at a point where we are right now. And it's really up and down for us, and it's a really hard emotional feeling to be a Hull fan right now, because everybody is 6s and 7s and debates are everywhere, and everyone's just pointing fingers why we're in this predicament, or what can we do, or what should we be doing, or what should be different. It's frustration that you can actually feel from the Hull fans at the moment. I mean, don't get me wrong, like you said, we've picked up a couple of points here and there, brilliant. But these are the points that we should have been picking up earlier on in the season, regardless. Yeah. And now we're kind of cherry picking where we can get them from. Every game we're looking at with intent. And we're absolutely analysing and diagnosing every kind of result and pre-match, especially, like we say, against yourselves coming up. I've lost track of how many people I've spoken to, including our own, this week with respect to Chef Wednesday, and we're going over to there. It's
I don't know where to start with our club right now, boss. You're talking about analysing online and things like that. Today's been banter. The last 3 days have been. We were recording Monday night, and the club released a statement as we were recording about 8:45. So we're just about to finish, and they released that statement, and trying to scramble around while you're live on the internet to talk about players not getting paid and stuff like that was quite difficult. However, on the back of that, a number of fan groups have got together, so I'm interested to see where that goes. The weekend last weekend was, like you say, it was, Plymouth picked up a draw, a terrible own goal for 11 seconds into the second half against Luton Town, who have been utter trash this year, and then Cardiff drawing against ourselves, Derby County picking up 4 wins on the bounce. It was weird last weekend because we were 6 points off the playoffs before we kicked off against Cardiff, only drew, and now we're only 5 points off the playoffs. I don't know how that works. So the whole bottom end of the table just had a big shift, and it's one of those things, isn't it, where you just want to get away from it. You just want to, you're like, can I get a bit of distance here? Because had we have taken all the spoils against Cardiff, there'd be a 2-point gap rather than one of them breathing down your neck and things to that effect. And when you look even higher up at Stoke, Oxford and Derby, who are all above you relatively, they're not out of the woods. I would even wager that there's a number of Plymouth fans thinking a couple of decent results, we can get out of that.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. Yeah, I actually think Plymouth are going to be thinking exactly those type of things. I mean, Derby at the moment are on a bit of a re-edge. I actually wrote Derby off about a month ago.
They were done.
They were done. Yeah, they were done. We're admitting it. They were done. And this resurge has just come out of nowhere. And this is the thing about Hull. We thought we were on one. We thought, right, form's changing around. Ruben started to get some out of the players. I mean, obviously, it's going to take him a bit of time from when he came in. At the end of, start of December, he officially got the job, which was actually thanks to Sheffield Wednesday.
A
big thanks. We owe you for that one, even though it was a loss. I'm still saying thank you, because on that day, what was it, November the 26th, 27th? I think it was something like that. We played you, and we lost 2-0. But on that day, there was a lot of speculation going on about Tim, our ex-manager, and he was not liked. I mean, it was obvious he wasn't liked. The fans were against him, and you could see that he lost the dressing room because you could just tell by how the players were reacting on the pitch, how interviews were. I mean, some of the interviews which were coming out saying, I've never really spoken to the guy. What's your manager? What? Yeah, he just doesn't speak to us.
It sounds like our chairman and our manager, that, Chris.
It's just, and this was the thing, and it was extremely frustrating to hear on that day, and where the owner was backing him, saying, "Nah, he won't lose his job. He won't lose his job." Anyway, owner turned up, watched the game. Next day, see you later, pal. You're out the door, and everybody was just relieved after that because we were so bad the last time we met. But we were completely, I'm going to say it, we were rubbish every game previous to that anyway. Yeah, it was not nice football. It wasn't enjoyable football. It wasn't what we were promised when he came over. We were promised exciting, inventive, though I think some of the comments were, even though we might even lose a game, you're going to be entertained because it could be 6 goals. You know, it could be a 4-2, a 3-2. It could be a 5-1. It could be anything like that. He said you'll be entertained, but
none of you were
not. We were not. We were fuming. The only entertainment value we got was just laughing at how bad we actually were, and it was kind of, who do you point the blame at situation, I guess. I mean, like I said, it was the end of last season where this all started spiraling. Yeah. I'm not saying just losing Liam Rosenior was a big thing. Yes, some fans are still in that kind of predicament. Sorry about the lighting, everybody. I don't know why it's going crazy. For those that are watching,
it was fine before we press record.
It was fine. Yeah, it was perfect. But yeah, I'm not saying Liam Rosenior was kind of the downfall of, you know, when we lost Liam, and I say lost Liam, when our owner decided to do a change, because there was still little things where from that January forward, we were just drawing games or losing games that should have gone and been put to bed and won, and we should have been in the playoffs. I'm not being cocky by saying that. We had an outstanding team. We had outstanding players, a lot of loans in, unfortunately, because the team was just built around loan players. And it was just going to suffer after we lost all those, because, I mean, look, we lost, 26 players out the door in total, including your manager and all backroom staff. So it's been a full rebuild. So none of the fans were delusional enough to think, oh, we're going to push for playoffs, oh, we're going for top spot this season. We weren't that delusional. We were obviously hoping to be middle, you know, not bottom. That's it. We were not expecting bottom of the table. And some of the signings that we kind of got in as well, which were really exciting. Balumi for one of them. Liam Miller, you know, ex-Liverpool player. Well, still, sorry, Liverpool player on the left, the Canadian. We've got Steven Alzate come in. I mean, Alzate was injured for a lot of the beginning. We lost Miller. Was it the Norwich game? I believe it was Norwich. And we lost him to an ACL. Oof. Then a week later, we lost Balumi to an ACL. So they're our two best players, our left wing and right wing.
What are you doing to them? What are you doing to these lads?
Well, we just signed Elliot Matazo in January. Guess what he's out with?
Is it ACL?
ACL, yeah. Louis Barry. Yeah. You know, we've got Louis Barry in. And the worry for that was for 2 weeks, without us really having any knowledge, we were told ACL. Luckily enough, it's not an ACL, but it's almost as bad as.
It's still a 6 month out. His season's
It's still a 6 month out. His season's out in And we had Oscar Zambrano come in as well on loan with the option to sign in the future. Brilliant kid on the ball. Brilliant kid. The reason why no one's heard of him because he came with a bit of a doping ban hanging over his head because he took some painkillers that were issued by the club.
If you're watching work, painkillers. That's also why I wasn't at work today. Took the wrong painkillers.
And then there you go. But yeah, no. With respect to the painkillers, obviously they need to be signed off by the club.
Yeah,
and he just took something, and he got in trouble for it. The appeal's gone through. They've had a review. We're just waiting on the result, and we were told the result was going to come out last week. It hasn't turned up yet, so waiting on that one. But we're looking forward to seeing him come back. Who else have we lost? I'm not even going to mention Durkan Sinik because that guy gets out of bed and is injured. I think I've seen him play 3 games in his whole 3 years of being at the club. It's been a bit of a messy one. I'm not blaming injuries for any sort of our predicament or where we are. I'm not.
It's just it's a mitigating factor.
It's a fact. Yeah, exactly. It's a mitigating factor. But then I'm also not going to defend Tim Walter with his decisions when they were out injured because we had the depth. We did a lot of purchasing, and it will take time for a club to gel. But if your players don't believe in what the manager was presenting, then you're never gonna.
You never get it back. I spoke to your colleague back in November, and the man was utterly dejected. He was so. I felt I wanted to give him. I wanted to reach through the screen and give him a cuddle. I was like,
honest to God, okay? When you see him and when you speak to him every week, you still want to do that anyway, pals. Just wait until he gets a beer down him and a bit of a win, and then he's a different guy.
But then he's a hugger.
Yeah, he's the hugger. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I tell you what. Go on. Let's go through 2025 as a month because he smashed Sheffield United out of absolutely nowhere. That was insane. Without really good result, and that kind of started you off to a and then you took a point off of Leeds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think
that was a goal fest of a game as well.
Absolutely,
really.
that was 3-3. And then, if you look in February, losing against teams like Cardiff and losing to teams like Stoke. Well, you know what I mean? You're ruining bets across the entire country right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolute accumulator busters. But however, there seems to be a bit more stability this last month before you play Sheffield Wednesday. Now, we are notably terrible at home. Not terrible, average. You know what I mean? We haven't won at home since New Year's Day. And I know that every team will quite happily go, we're Charity FC, we're going to come and sort out. But there is definitely an issue of Sheffield Wednesday playing at home. And
you're talking to the right club here. You are talking to the right club here. When you're talking about home form, before our little last couple of games at home, not including the Luton one that's just been, previous to that was 4 home wins in 15 months. So you are talking to the right club when it comes to home form here. It's one of those when we look at the Sheffield Wednesday stats of your home form, we're like doesn't matter. They're not us. You know, it's we still beat you on that one.
Yeah. I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have that one. And then credible draws against Bristol City and against West Brom. They're good results, given no disrespect, your proximity in the league to where they are. How do you feel Saturday's going to play out for you?
Mixed emotions. And it is really, truly mixed emotions because, again, like I said, we've been debating non-stop between ourselves. And I'm going to use a bit of last week's kind of debate going over into this game where the lineup came out last week. And I was really optimistic because there was players, though one or two weren't playing in their best position, they were very good and competent to play in that position. And whilst there was other players who have been filling in those other positions that shouldn't be there were in their correct position. So I was really optimistic seeing like Carl Joseph up top for the first time, really, because he's being pushed out to the wing. Joe Geller, who got off loan from Leeds, absolute stunning player. And he can play on the right side, the left side, the middle. The middle is his best, but he was covering on the left. And I'm one of those where, look, I appreciate his best position is in his middle. But if he can do the job as good as on the left, play him there, I don't mind that. But a lot of people will criticize and say, no, it's not his best position. Bag him there. But then I have to look on the width and go, well, who else have we got? Because unfortunately, for the rest of the season, most of the season, we've had strikers playing as left or right wingers. And it hasn't been good. And this is the problem now I'm looking at Wednesday at the weekend is who goes where, what does what. It's a really tricky one for us. The back line kind of speaks for itself. We don't have to kind of worry about that, and the goalie speaks for himself because Pando's done nothing short of keepers in it, I would say, which wasn't expected at the beginning of the season because he didn't even get a look in under Liam Rosenior. And I guess I don't want to say it was one of the mitigating factors why Liam Rosenior was also let go, but it was part of, it was included because you can understand the frustration of why he wasn't being played because he is a really good goalkeeper. It's more to do with our kind of midfield and forward situation because we just don't have a striker. Like I say, Carl Joseph has come to us quite expensive, 2.5 million with a bit of extras from Blackpool, thanks to Mr. Steve Bruce of ours. And yeah, exactly. You see, yeah. And he ranted and raved. Now, I will admit, Carl Joseph didn't set the world on fire ever before this season, as in, from the start of the season up to when we signed him in January. However, he was getting kind of the battling goals / the assists, the workhorse kind of type of goals that we needed for somebody up top. But so far, we've just not had it from him. And with João Pedro, our kind of main striker, who, when we signed him on a free
player there, there's a player in there. And in Joseph as well.
Yeah, he's a great player. Now, I will admit, when he turned up, I thought he wasn't going to get 90 minutes ever. And then he was pulling out 120-minute games, and he's still on the ball on the pitch, and he's been brilliant. But he had a three-match ban. Now he's back for this weekend. So thank God he's back because, sorry guys, because he's the one who scores our goals.
Yeah.
Because they're not coming really from anywhere else. Yes, yeah, okay, we can talk about Kamara. Kamara is the biggest hit and miss player you will see. He will either look like a teenage kid having a bit of a strop and can't be bothered, or he'll come out and think he's Ronaldinho and try everything. You just don't know what type of player is going to turn up that day. And again, this is where we're at when it comes to Wednesday. How do I feel we're going to do? I don't know. This is how bad it is. We just don't know. Yes, we do better against teams higher up the league. We're doing awful with teams in and around us, which we shouldn't be. We do a lot better away from home. We always have. We play like without fear when we play away. We're more on the front foot instead of kind of just, what's going to happen at home, which is really frustrating the fans. And that kind of on the front foot. If Chef Wednesday come up, because you do have a very scary attacking front too at the
We
moment.
do, but there's nobody to put the ball in the net. I was going to break you into our secret. So we've got Windass there, right?
You've got Windass, who I love,
right.
by the way. I
Everybody,
absolutely adore.
everybody goes, "Oh, Windass is a player in there," but what he tends to do is score 2 or 3 worldies a season, play well for about 5 games, and then we never really see much of him since. Bit of an
11, I think.
insider secret there. But the interesting one, the bit that's kind of frustrating us the most at the minute, Shea Charles is by far our best player right now. Does a lot of work, but we've got him on loan from Southampton. He should be playing at a high level. Not been rubbish, but not been to the level that he was in the first half of the season. But fatigue kicks in, you know what I mean? But the most concerning one is Jerry Gassama, who has been trash for the last 2 games, and like a passenger completely. And I know there'll be Wendy fans listening to this going absolutely nuts at me, but he just hasn't turned up. And I don't know if that's because other teams are doing a job on him because he's had such a high profile season for us, and people have gone, oh, hang on a minute, this kid's all right. And Cardiff kicked lumps out of him, but he's not getting the ball down. He's not the player that he was when he single-handedly came back against Middlesbrough on his own. You know what I mean, on Boxing Day. But we just haven't had the performance out of him the last 2 games, and we've got a bit of a makeshift defense. We've had Akin Famewo come back for a 10-minute cameo against Cardiff. So there's going to be late fitness tests and how hard they've been working and all that, because we seem to be losing a defender a week right now. As the season started to finish, it's definitely kicking in. So give me a prediction then, Chris. What are you thinking?
Honest, I am thinking a ball draw. Honest, I'm not expecting much, and I'll be honest. Look, 1-1, 0-0. It's going to be around there. I'm not expecting a goal fest from either side.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. I think 1-1 is going to be what it is. Sheffield Wednesday at home, we're not going to win. We're probably going to draw 1-1, and you guys are fighting for your lives a little bit. There is that element of you'll want it more.
Yeah, there's obviously the element of us, because to be honest, I think every Hull fan and every Hull player is kind of wishing you're already all in holiday mode, but you're still on that late push for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're not going to let that go yet. And I know Chef Wednesday players won't let that go yet. But with Hull, with needing that survival, and they kind of, like I said, they're playing away from home, generally works into our favour, generally. But I just can't let go of last week's performance. I'm still in shock.
To be fair, though, Chris, they got an awful timed goal for yourselves and shut up shop. That was it. There was, you could have gone home after that goal went in against Luton.
It was, we could have. Everybody could have. Everybody could have left the stadium early. The one thing that really annoyed us, though, was we had 2 chances after that. And when I say chances, I am talking, you only had the keeper left, and you were 6-7 yards from him. Just hit it around. But not one of them would commit in taking the shot. And it's really beginning to frustrate us Hull fans. Really beginning to get to us. And I don't understand why we're afraid to take the shot.
I think that's football. I genuinely we had the same complaint a few weeks ago. I think that's football. Everybody's kind of terrified at Sky and 1 over because chances are so few and far between like what they used to be. I think there's a lot of people afraid to pull the trigger, and I feel like, especially at championship level, there's a lot more tap-ins from the penalty spot to the 6-yard box. Who you have to do it rather than somebody going, do you know what? Fuck you! I'm going to absolutely smash this in the onion.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? You've worded it perfectly. I would love to see someone like, I know, Gustavo Puerta, who can score worldies, but just hasn't even attempted one this season.
Yeah.
At all. And I'm like, wait a minute, aren't you the guy who scores 30-yard screamers into the top corner?
In it.
And you've not done one this season. And I think this is why everyone's getting so frustrated at Hull. Look, yes, full rebuild. Yes, new manager again. Ruben Zeles, by the way, I can't blame him for anything at all. He might have he got a bit wrong last week. The lineup I thought was good to start with, but obviously it was awful. It was probably the worst we've played under him. So, well, fool me for being that optimistic, hoping it was going to be anything better.
That'll learn you.
Yeah, that'll learn me for actually having some hope, and some faith in the ability. But that's it. You're right. Players are not committing the Championship this season as much as it used to be. And I don't know if it's because the standard's better or the standard's worse. Because
I can't work it out.
It's so tight. It's been so tight throughout the full season. It's been enjoyable, but then at the same time, I've hated every single minute of this season.
I'm getting no joy from it whatsoever. But there's something nice about being a mid-table team where you're like, oh, we won this weekend. Yay. Oh, we lost. Ooh. And that's it. That's all you got to worry about. There's nothing else. And then
you've got that. We've got the, yes, we're going to, that's it. Late punch. We're doing the playoffs. We've got to win. Lost. Oh, that's it. We're relegated.
It's gone. It's all gone. And then chucking, we have paid the players. So, you know what I mean?
When I saw that come up, honest to God, then I was just like, oh, is that our advantage or is that going to be our disadvantage at the weekend? Because you just don't know.
I think we'll see. But listen, Chris, that's been absolutely box office. Stay on the line, pal. I'm gonna put a pin in this. Don't forget, if you want to listen to the other side, get in touch with @Hull_and_back. Chris, it's been a pleasure. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.